Hello and welcome to the Viva La Vulva podcast. I am your host, Dr. Cara, and this is a special episode today. I'll get into who this is to the side of me. She's my girlfriend. Her name is Eliana, and we wanted to do an episode about our coming out stories. So October 11th is National Coming Out Day. And I thought it would be empowering to have this conversation. And Lily Wang is here, and she is our guest host, hostess with the mostest, that will be asking us questions to kind of make it like a conversation.
Yeah, well,
Thanks for being on.
thank you for having me again, Dr. Cara, and so nice to meet you, Eliana. We just always have so much fun with our episodes, and we were deciding on what could we talk about next. And I was asking Cara, like, what's your story? Like, what's in your love life? And she was telling me that she had a girlfriend. So I was like, oh, let's record and talk about that. And just in perfect timing for coming out day in October. So here we are celebrating. And thank you for having me be your quasi guest host. So we talked about like Viva La Vulva, and then maybe I was like, ooh, is this how you two met? And I guess we could, just open up the floor and discuss how did the two of you meet, or how did you know that you were bi and wanted to explore someone of the same sex as you?
Well, I can start. So, well, we met on Tinder. And yes, good old Tinder. Trusty Tinder. And like I generally like having like meeting people in person and like being introduced to people through friends. And I'll get to my coming out story or my story of being bi or how I knew I was bi in a bit. But I was like, I want to date women, and I felt like I didn't really have game, and I didn't know who, like, I didn't know, just walking on the street, like, who is interested in women or who is not. And so I was like, let me just get on an app because I feel like it's really easy, and you can just put like what sex you want. And so that was how it happened. It was like, okay, I want to start dating women more. Like, let's see how this happens. And so I went on a few, like I interacted with a couple of people, like, via text message over the app. And I went on a couple of dates. And then I met Eliana, and I was like, okay, this is I'm interested. Like, let's know more.
So I want to touch upon a few things that you said. It makes so much sense. Like when you're walking down the street, you don't have like a radar to know who's gay, bi, or lesbian. You can only say hi, and maybe if they say hi back to you a certain way with a wink or what, then you get the special signal. But I mean, I guess with today's technology, having an app like Tinder, being able to do all the automated filtration for you and filters, it's so easy. But so that's great that you were able to connect and meet that way. But I would ask a couple steps back, how did you know you wanted to date women versus clicking the men category, for example?
Yes. Well, so I guess that could take me back to when I knew I was bi. I mean, I think I've always had an attraction to women, but it's more of like, oh, she's pretty, she's cute, like she's attractive, not to have sex or have, like have a romantic relationship. But I've always thought that women were attractive. And so I've dated men up into like I mean, I'm bi, so like I've dated men up until like recently. But I was like, I just felt something in me that was like, let me date women more. Like, let me explore this more. And so my first girlfriend, because I did have a girlfriend before, my first girlfriend was like 5 or 6 years ago. And I remember, like, you know, hanging out with her, getting to know her more. And my family met her, but they met her in the friend category. It was like, oh, this is my friend, like, you know, meet my friend.
They had no idea.
They had no idea. And I didn't give them hints, or at least I didn't think I gave them hints about, like, you know, who, if I was dating her or not.
Right.
And then the girlfriend and I talked about it, and it was like, why don't you just tell your parents? Like, why don't you just come out and tell your parents? And so that was like a hard story, even though, like, there are plenty of gay people in my life. Like, I have a gay uncle. There's you know, gay cousins. Like, there's people in my life that my family has embraced. But for myself, I was like, this is nerve-wracking. And so I remember telling my mom first, like right before the holidays, because I didn't want my girlfriend to come with me to the holidays, you know, meet the rest of my family. And so I was like,
the holidays.
The holidays, yes. And I wanted people to meet her, and so I told my mom, and I was like, actually, she's not my friend, she's my girlfriend. And so my mom was like, you know, a little surprised, but she was like, I love you just the same.
Awesome.
Like, let's get to know her. And so it was an embracing story. And the same with my dad. I think my dad, I don't know, I had a little bit more like of a hesitation to tell my dad versus my mom. But it was the same thing. Like, it was not a bad story. Like, it wasn't a bad outcome.
You're lucky. You're one of the few that has loving, embracing parents that obviously accepted you and love you no matter what. And I was just wondering, like, why is it so taboo? Why is that such a stressful thing to us, disappointing our parents? And why do we A, care about what our parents think so much, but then B, for their approval and for them to be okay with our life decisions and sexualities? But yeah, it is. It's just it's a heavy time and question, and I'm just glad that you've got the support that you deserve.
Yeah, and I think that it is really, I do appreciate it, and I think that I'm more authentic. Like, I can just be myself with my family, with my friends, that I think I probably wasn't able to do that much before, saying that I was also attracted to women.
You got a huge weight lifted off of you.
Oh, sure, a definite weight lifting. And that was like later, I mean, I say later in my life, but like in my early 30s, like, and I feel like that's kind of late in like the coming out age. I don't know, what would you say?
Too late, right? It's never too late. You're out.
You're never too late. No, you're never too late.
Yeah. No, that was such a good story. And what about you? Tell us your story, Eliana.
Well, I actually came out when I was 15, so so I have
a long time before
a pretty different story.
Yeah.
I came out to my peers, my friends, when I was 15, but didn't until I was 18 to my mother. And it was kind of a battle with her for a while. I was leaving for school to go back east, and so she apparently I had left a note to my girlfriend at the time on the table in the kitchen, which I didn't do intentionally, but this is what she told me after. And she read it, and so when I got on the plane, it was a night flight, it was dark, everybody was quiet. She confronted me, and she asked me, it was the year after 9/11, so I got a random check on my bag, and I was the last person on the plane. So I kind of walk up to my seat, and she looked visibly like mad, and I asked her, what's wrong? And she was like, you know what's wrong. And I was like, whoa, okay. And I had like thought maybe I should come out to my mom. I'm ready. Like, I'm moving back east and like starting new. Maybe it's time. And then I like chickened out kind of at the last minute. I was like, no, I don't want to disrupt anything. So when she said that to me, I was like, well, now's my chance to be honest and authentic. And so I said, well, this is who I am. And she's like, no, this is not who you are. And I think back now, like, I'm sure the whole plane heard me. Like, it was pretty bad. I mean, I can like laugh about it now, but it was pretty traumatic. I think I like cried myself to sleep. Like, she like yelled at me for a little bit. My brother was like in between us, he was sitting in the window seat, and I was like, please let me like switch, and she was like, no, you have to sit next to me. It was kind of crazy. So we like, we arrived in Baltimore. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into like full details, but she basically was like, I think, you need to like go to therapy. You can't be gay, or I'm not gonna pay for your tuition. Like, she threatened my schooling, all this stuff. Took me to the priest, and then
right away.
Yeah.
And wait on you, and the pressure of we were just talking about how we want our parents' approval and love and support, and for you to get that kind of like wham all on top of you as you're starting back to school, as you said, East Coast, so geographically even away from home, literally and emotionally away from home. What was next after the priest and therapy?
So I remember this moment, just getting into my dorm room with like nothing, like I didn't have anything really there yet, and just like sitting on the bed and being like, oh my God, what did I do? I like left my girlfriend. I moved to a place that I don't know anybody. My mom doesn't love me. Like, it was like a really like hard moment. And then, so I basically told her like, all right, fine, I won't be gay, whatever you want. Just to like appease her, and like, I was like, okay. And she left. And of course I was like, I'm not gonna not be gay, or this is who I am, so, but, she left, and I saw her like at Thanksgiving. She flew out, and we didn't discuss it at all. It was like no word of it. Yeah. Yeah. And then I stayed in Baltimore for a year, and I just wasn't vibing with the school or the city, and so I decided to transfer back to LA to a college here in Pasadena. And when I moved back, I stayed at her house for a while before I got my apartment, and it was just like we just opened the whole can of worms again. Like, so for years it was like, it was really hard for her. Like, I think she was struggling, like, is this my fault, or what did I do wrong, or, and I think even like being out about having a lesbian daughter, like, was hard for her to talk to her friends about. And
so what did you say to your mom, like, when she asked that, like, oh my gosh, how is this, why and how did this happen? How do you explain it? Is it just something that you feel? Is just how you're born with it? This is the way you are? And
yeah, I mean, I remember really early memories of like thinking that girls were pretty, and wanting to be their friends, and even like sexual encounters as a child. So, and then it didn't really like click until I met my first girlfriend at like 14. And I totally fell in love, and I felt butterflies and just like all these feelings that I had never felt for a boy. And at first I was bi. I felt identified as bi. And then, yeah, I mean, later over the years, I was like, I'm lesbian. Like, I don't have the same connections with men. Like, I don't feel the same way. Yeah, so she didn't really understand that, but I think, yeah, it's hard.
Fast forward, has mom come around?
Mom has done one, like, yeah, complete come around, like, yeah. Yeah, she, it took some time, it took some years, but, like, her, you know, she finally was just like, after a few girlfriends, she was like, okay, like, nothing's changing. I want to be a part of your life. And my last girlfriend, which was a pretty long relationship, but she was like the first one where she really embraced her, and she took her like in as family, and my whole family did, and it was like beautiful to be able to bring my girlfriend to, you know, the holidays, and everybody was like, you know, acting as if like it was normal, like it was for so long it wasn't normal, you know. So it was like a really good feeling. And my mom is now like, are you gonna have kids? Like, are you gonna get married? Like, this is like, no, you know, like, yeah, it's really awesome.
Well, thank you for being true to yourself, and you stayed strong this whole time so that you can be not only honest with yourself, but then to your family and friends. And now you're both just glowing and happy because you don't have to hide anything, and you're accepted and loved just for who you are. And yay, no, thank you for sharing that story, because I don't have very many friends in the LGBTQ community. I mean, I have a lot of colleagues and work professionals, but I've never been able to like just comfortably ask them like, how'd you come out? Or,
yeah.
When did it happen? And also I think there's so much background stories too, not only just coming out, but how is it accepted in whether it be your professional community, your family, your friend circles. And there's always so many factors and dynamics in every single relationship that it definitely does impact you and how you grow and how you move forward. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, even with as I was, you know, becoming more authentic with myself and others in medical school and in residency, I would just meet other people that were similar. I would meet other bi people, I would meet gay people, I would meet lesbians. Like, I would meet people that were being true and authentic to themselves as well. And so I think that the more that you're authentic to yourself, the more that you attract people who are along the same lines. Yeah. For sure, whether it's professional or personal or what have you. Like, as long as you're being, like, you're shining your light, you're being authentic, then it really does make a huge difference.
Agreed, 100%. Mm-hmm. So true.
Yeah. So we have, what was I going to say? I mean, yeah, we've definitely like enjoyed growing our relationship. She's more of an artist, designer. I'm doctor. So like, I use my left brain a lot. She uses her right brain a lot. So I feel like we have complemented each other. And we actually did this piece that is behind us.
I love it. And it's beautiful. Love the colors. Love the 3 features of the bodies that you focused on. Everyone, if you're listening, you should just go onto the YouTube channel and make sure that you get a glimpse of this photo.
Yes, to the YouTube channel.
They're acrylic, right? Acrylic paintings with the vulva, beautiful breasts, and the woman's ass.
And an ass.
It's gold leaf.
Gold leaf, yeah.
And we also stretched these canvases. So we like got a big piece of canvas and cut it down and like stretched them on stretcher bars. So we did it like from raw canvas, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yes, I didn't have any clue on how to do any of those things, and that's why we have, like, she knew about that. I knew, like, I wanted some type of vulva art, and like we made it work together. So this has been our like quarantine project.
And also, yeah, you did it together. That's what makes it so much more unique, and nothing could ever reduplicate that. So that's awesome.
So yeah, it might be in the next Viva La Vulva in person exhibit. So if you guys want to see it in person, you have to go to the next exhibit.
Counting on that. Yes. It's like one day too when we could do events, Cara, let's have a Vino and Vulva painting event.
Yes, Vino and Vulva. I like that.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good.
You know, Vino and Vibes, right?
That's a good one. And we can even talk about, there's so many ideas. We could even like bring your like toys, and like we could do like a toy thing also.
Vino, vulvas, and vibes.
Vino, vulvas, vibes.
VVV.
Viva
La Vulva and vibes with Vino.
Yes. There's so much information in the store.
Yeah. And then one of the questions that we had some of our viewers ask too, as a lesbian couple, do you have any favorite toys or favorite couples toys and tips and tricks for a successful relationship?
Well, I think that it is all about like first having a conversation about like what we like, what we don't like, and what is like out of the subject, like what can't be done, won't be touched. And so I feel like once that conversation is had, then, like also talking about like what you want to do, like what I want to do, like what experiences I want to have with using different things like vibrators and dildos and things like that. So I feel like I have, like that is what I have wanted to explore, and I've talked with her about exploring it in the relationship. Yeah. So it is definitely a communication thing, and I think it's always an adventure, like exploring different things, exploring different toys. I mean, you've definitely sent some toys for us to explore with, and we appreciate it. And it's about like what you feel comfortable in doing with your partner, or even by yourself, like with your partner watching. Like there's a lot of options.
Good. No, and that's so true. And I asked that question only because for our listeners to see what kind of answer. It wasn't anything specific, maybe even because everybody's bodies are different. Everyone's on a different journey. What's going to be comfortable for you is going to be different than somebody else. And so you, by yourself as an individual, as well as with your partner, can explore your bodies individually, and then along with a partner to discover what do they like, what do you like, what do you like as a couple. And it could just be endless combinations of fun.
That is very true.
Yes, endless combinations. So that is, that's what's going on. We're excited for more things in store and for more toys to explore. From MedAmour.
Yay. Well,
we also wanted to do a giveaway. So this is like a now coming out episode giveaway as well.
So thanks to for having me on the podcast. We from MedAmour would love to do a giveaway to all the listeners of Viva La Vulva, and we'll put down the rules and guidelines in the post below. But basically, like and follow both of our pages, and we will be giving away a Lalo Sona 2 cruise. It's like the new hot toy that gives clitoral stimulation and stimulates the vulva. But we are big fans of the air pulse technology, and we know that you'll like it.
Yes. All right. So yes, follow both of us. I mean, the instructions will be in the description, and it'll also be on our Instagrams. So you can follow us there and get more information about the giveaway and when the deadline will be.
I would say in closing, for any successful relationship, whether you're in a straight relationship or a gay, bi, lesbian, it's communicate with your partner and be honest.
Yes, for sure. I mean, yeah, like I feel like the basis of any relationship is going to be the same, regardless of what relationship you're in. Yeah, and communication, yes, and honesty is a huge thing that I think can allow your relationship to last
and grow.
And grow, yes. And grow.
Well, thank you, Dr. Cara and Eliana.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lily, for having us on the podcast. But yeah, no, I do appreciate you being the guest host and asking us questions on this special episode of us talking about our coming out stories. For this National Coming Out Day. So if you like the podcast, subscribe, tell your friends and family about it, watch the YouTube channel, and go to the website at vivalavulvala.la.org to sign up for our email list and just get more information about upcoming events. So with that being said, thank you, ladies, for being on, and I appreciate everyone listening. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, and welcome back to the Viva La Vulva episode. I am your host, Dr. Cara, and I have another special guest on the podcast today. This is my friend and colleague, I guess you could say, Dr. Jarrod Matthei.
Hi.
Hello. The occupational medicine doctor in San Diego, and I wanted him to tell his story about coming out, because this is our episode, is our National Coming Out Day episode, and wanted to have stories of empowerment of people, individuals coming out. So I thank you, Dr. Jarrod, for being on the podcast today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
So wanted you to give us your story.
Yeah, so I will start. I'll try to be brief with it, but basically when I was in college, I was I was a little nervous about, coming out in like my freshman, sophomore year. So I was kind of doing things at night with like my gay friends, and then doing stuff with straight friends. It was like very separated. And no one really knew on campus. So I would go to the gay clubs on Fridays or Saturdays sometimes. And again, it was just all very hidden. But as I got into like my junior and senior year, I started to become a little bit more comfortable with myself. And I think my biggest concern was not knowing how a lot of my friends were going to react to me coming out like as a gay male. I was in college 2005 to 2009, so it was different times than I think now. I think it's a lot more accepting these days. I think cities. But generally, I think it's just a different time. Hopefully, it's a little bit easier for people. But I decided to come out to my mother first, and that was in my senior year of college. I went home for the weekend because I went to University of Miami, so I'm from Miami, so it was still kind of like local, where I would like go home on the weekends, and decided to tell her, and she started crying. But it wasn't like a disappointed cry. She was just concerned about like how other people were going to perceive me. She just felt like it was going to be harder for me like navigating the world. So although she was like crying in that moment, she still was like very. So she was the first person I came out to, and then I actually, I ran into my best friend's sister at a gay club. One Saturday, and I was like freaking out because I was out there with friends, and here she was like walking up towards me, and I'm sure it showed on my face like deer in the headlights, and I was expecting to see someone I knew, and she didn't make like a big deal out of it, and I kind of was like, oh, I'm here like celebrating with a friend, and she called me like the day later and she's like, Jarrod, I don't care. Like, I think you should tell Eliana, who's her sister, my best friend. So I told her, and then I kind of just, after that, just started to open up to like other people. Like once I started with my mom and then my best friend, and everyone was pretty like, I was very lucky. Everyone was like pretty accepting. Everyone in my family knows now. I always had this like mentality that if someone wasn't gonna take me as I was, then they didn't need to be in my life. So
yeah,
pretty much like the gist. My best friend in college as well. I have another friend named Lionel. Him and I like came out to. We were like roommates and like hid from each other, even though we both knew what was going on. And we finally were just like, listen, like, I know you're gay. And once we did that, we were like out together like all the time during college.
uh-huh.
Other people knowing, but like at least we had each other. And then it was after college that him and I like started coming out to like all our college friends. So that's kind of like how it went down, I would say. But I didn't have like any negative experiences, luckily. I've heard of other people having way different stories.
Yeah.
One of the lucky ones to have people like in my life that were just accepting.
Yeah.
I was. So.
Was there ever a point in college where you're like, I can't tell anybody, or like I need to continue this lie, or continue?
Well, I continued to lie for like pretty much from people in college. It was, I mean, I'm sure people had suspicions, but